started off by talking about smart cities. Let's share some experiences that we've seen from around the world, perhaps. Share a little as to what we do and what we could expect. And over the next 10, 12 minutes or so, I'll try to finish my 125 slides and talk about these four things. I'll talk to you about our perspective about smart cities, and then a little bit about NetApp, because when you think about us as somebody else, I just want to clarify and talk to you about that. I want to share a few learnings that we've seen from these smart cities perspective from around the world. And there is one specific case that probably makes sense for all of us, specifically Asia, and perhaps also Oceania, and I'd like to play a video at the end of it. I think it's a little fashionable nowadays for us to throw some video at you. So, when you think a person becomes smart just by wearing smart clothes, just the same way, smart cities don't become smart just by calling them smart. There are multiple different things, and I think our view about smart cities is a case where a lot of these departments, the areas of work, are all centered around that one, the set of people who are the citizens, which is the core, around which all the services, whether it is energy, power, whether it is water, transport, urban development, industry, so on and so forth, all of them get centered around that. And I think right at the beginning, Emily and then Mr. Palai also spoke about it. The core of the whole thing is how decisions are being made in order to be able to make that one decision about where I need to give the power to the citizen, or I need to make a transport system in a certain way, or I have to do my education system in a certain different way. And the discussion that happened yesterday, which we all heard this evening about, the knowledge hubs, which I think is an extension of what you're talking about, education and next steps to that, are all based on this one thing about data. It's all about data or information, because in the absence of it, you do not know where you're going to deploy what, how much, and in what proportion. And what we've also seen is that when you have this data, when you use them smartly, is when you're able to make smart decisions, which ultimately manifests itself into giving you a smart city. A smart city, obviously there is no definition, we've heard that over several times this evening, but I would think in parts of multiple different focus areas is something that you achieve at the end of it. So, it is the decision which is enabled by the data, by the decision makers, for the citizens at the pace of what the citizens want to do, and that's our perspective about smart city. And instead of this context of smart city, whether you're talking about one of these multiple things that you see on the screen, those the round bubbles, or any of the other areas that you don't see here, which probably are going to be there, are all driven by this same one single simple fundamental thing, which is data. So we keep talking about data and collection of data, gathering of data, analysis of data, and then making smart decisions out of it, which ultimately enables you to give you what smart that we're talking about in a city, right? So, having said that, I just wanted to set this context as to what NetApp is. So you all know this one common thing about NetApp is a $6.3 billion Fortune 500 end-to-end enterprise storage and data management company. It's a US company. We work in about 150 countries, 12,000 people. We are recently a new company founded in 1992. It's another Bay Area, Santa Clara based US company. The important thing that is a part of our DNA, there are three things. We are driven by innovation. And all the innovations that you see in the technology field, specifically from data and storage management, is coming from the times when we all started off with small capacities and really small boxes, etc. But then now we've moved on to a different world. I think what the world needs, and we are the only vendor we're talking about that, is that we're all going to go into this realms of cloud, whether we like the word cloud in multiple aspects. That is going to be the reality, and that is one of the innovations that we are seeing today. We're talking about cloud as a fundamental platform for all of us to be working, including smart cities, including governments, including enterprises, everybody else. So that's the first part of our DNA. The second one is our orientation towards customers. Just by having a product doesn't mean it's going to solve somebody's problem or create new opportunities and possibilities for them. So our orientation of what we want to do in a certain environment
is a part of our DNA. Thirdly, I spoke about cloud, and that is something which is going to be ubiquitous in nature, and which is what we're talking about. So that's about a primer on NetApp. I can talk about this for the next 22 hours, but then I will stop at this point. Speaking a little bit more about NetApp's presence in all the contributions that we have made around the world with respect to smart cities or components of smart cities, you will see a list of them. You will see a list of them which are across the globe. There are a couple of others that I couldn't want to add and make the whole slide very fuzzy and busy, but I think what is important as a takeaway from here is that we are present across the globe in areas that we have made significant contribution to the governments in having to create that services for the citizens and people, whether it is in the area of transport or citizen safety or healthcare or utilities or airport and operations and so on and so forth. There is one example in India as well, which we'll talk about sometime in the future, but that you can see in the list. So these are some of the examples that I wanted to cite, and what we have done, you could probably think about from the context that you see, the areas that we have contributed in. There is one case in point which I mentioned in the beginning, is something I wanted to bring to your attention, is the fact that there is this state of California, a Center for Natural Resource Agency. This is an agency which controls the natural resources of California, which is a $2 trillion economy. It's a large economy. I think as a state of a country, I think it's doing rather well. And it is this agency that is controlling all the natural resources, providing only water. Water has been discussed in this evening several times. And what they wanted to do is to be able to put all of the departments which are, disparate in a way. I think it is not a surprise to all of us as well that we have multiple departments, and collaboration is something that comes up now with these smart cities. So collaboration, I think one of the other things that will change is the way the culture will change, the way in which we perceive the government and the government perceives people. That cultural transformation is going to happen. And that is exactly what they wanted to do, to create this collaborative platform that gives them the services from managing the energy resources of that state. So let me not go into what the outcome was in terms of their economics, etc. But ultimately, the result was there was phenomenal change in the way they were governing their area of governance, which is basically the natural resources, and which caused an amount of economic upsurge in the economic area for California as a state inside of United States. So that I think is pretty much my last slide. I think I would like to stop this with a video. I hope I'm able to locate that in a moment. There it is.
California is the 8th largest economy in the world, that exports a lot of things to a lot of countries and a lot of states. Water, oil and gas, agriculture. California affects the world. Without water, there is no agricultural business in California. Without looking at how we manage these resources, it will have an impact not only in the rest of the United States, but the rest of the world. The state CIO and the governor both want to see technology provide more effective government for California. How can we use IT as a business enabler? It's information. Mandate around shared services and consolidations. We have to drive that collaboration into the IT ecosystem.
The big reason that we went with NetApp for cloud services was because of the functionality NetApp provided that other vendors didn't.
It would support our high-performance compute, our new big data analytics, our mobile strategies.
Giving us the ability to securely partition data between customers and allow customers management capability of their data.
We capture data on everything. The technology that allows us to be able to communicate quickly to the local governments, things like levee breaks or flood flows, it's incredibly important to have that data.
We are 97% virtual. We have over 8 petabytes of information. We have 300% more storage capability than we had 18 months ago. We've reduced our CapEx across the board by 42%. We've reduced our operational X by 30%. With us, a strategic partner isn't somebody that just comes along and sells us a product. NetApp products and their engineers understand where we will come. The citizens need information today, not yesterday. We have to provide time to market information to our departments so that they can operate at the speed of the citizen.
Being a smart city, we have new possibilities and new opportunities for the city. I wish all the best to Bhubaneswar. Thank you.